Hello and welcome to episode 5. We apologise for what you're about to hear. It is a conversational podcast with two best friends talking absolute nonsense. Hello, Adele. How are you doing?
I'm okay, Danny. I've just had a thought, right?
Okay.
Because
Hit
every
me.
week,
Not literally, please.
I'm not
delicate.
going to because we're in a different place, so I can't. But every
Don't
week,
ruin the
I make
illusion.
you do the intro. And
Yeah.
what I was thinking is we should just pre-record the intro so you don't have to do it every week.
Whoa.
I know, right?
Whoa.
I mean,
You need to calm down.
yeah. Well, this is
You're
why I
getting-
get paid the big money for not doing
By
this.
who? And why are they
No
not paying
one.
me?
No one's paying
Wait a
me.
minute, what?
Yeah.
Where have you been going for this money?
Street
I have some?
corners.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
Dear,
So-
dear.
Oh,
We
so
are
I
in
found,
trouble.
okay, right, we were just having a conversation before starting. We did record part of it and it's not really suitable for everyone.
No,
but
it
we were
can't go
talking
out
about a
because we
certain
will be
Christmas
cancelled
song.
before we've even begun.
It was talking about a certain Christmas song and I'm going to name that Christmas song by its title, not by the artist, so that because there might be covers. This might be a cover and it's called My Wish for Christmas. I am going to say,
Is to not
Dis-
to go to prison.
right, I'm just going to say that out loud right now that I think it's one of the best Christmas songs ever written lyrically, despite very much disagreeing with everything that the singer of that song, the version I have, the singer of that song, I completely disagree with what he stands for 100%.
Oh my god.
But the lyrics in that song are amazing. Sorry.
The tension
Not
that is
sorry.
pulsing through my body right
Yeah.
now.
So
is-
anyway, Danny, how are you? How are
I feel
you?
very uncomfortable. I've had a
Yeah.
lot of coffee. The
Uh-huh.
caffeine's flowing and the controversy's already started. What are we? 2 minutes in? Buzzing?
Sorry, I can't help it, but I needed to find out the name of that song just because I listen to it and it makes sense to me every year. Every year, not like every day, just every year, once a year, annually.
Just once a year.
Annually, it makes sense.
There's just things you shouldn't say. I'm going to say
There
it.
are
Don't
things
say
you shouldn't say, but I'm gonna get controversial. I am
Oh,
gonna get
no.
so
Save me.
controversial.
Save me.
I am not gonna name
Save me
names.
from the nothing I've
It's so
become.
loud.
Is that a bit of Evanescence?
I'm going
Yeah, sorry.
deaf over here. I'm ready to mute you.
Mhm.
I'm not going to name names, but there are artists out there who are controversial beings, whether they're dead or alive. They're controversial beings. However, there is this horrible situation of, because we don't agree with the person, how do we go about still enjoying that art? Can we still do that? And it's a huge controversial debate. I'm not going to go into it because
This is not the podcast.
No, it's not the
This
podcast.
is not the podcast.
But
We're just talking nonsense, really, but also very
No.
controversial subjects that will get us
But it is
cancelled.
something I think people need to have a good hard think about. Have a good hard think about it, because just because I don't agree with a person morally, and if I already owned their art, rather than going out and purchase it and putting money into, if they're still receiving financial recompense for that art rather than it going to a charity, how do we morally allow ourselves to justify that? I don't know. I haven't got the answers. I'm going to leave it hanging as a pointless
Just
statement.
like a dead weight
Yes.
swinging in the breeze.
But I still, it's... how do I do this without naming names? It's very difficult. There are several artists, particularly male artists out there, whether that's their actors, singers, dancers, whatever, who have got horrific reputations from before the Me Too movement and since the Me Too movement. And it doesn't stop me as a person enjoying the performances that they have done. And so I don't know how to get
You see how
Yeah,
I'm
how to
silent
marry
and I'm
that.
just
Yeah, I
letting
know,
you talk.
I know. But then,
and, like,
okay,
dig
if I
your
name
hole.
a particular name, like you probably won't. You're too young. You're so young. But Kevin Spacey, like, he is a fantastic actor.
I'm not so young that I don't know who Kevin Spacey is.
No, but
How
for
young do you think I am?
24 and a half.
Don't put the half there. You make me sad. Don't do this to me.
You're the one who put the half there earlier.
Yeah, when it wasn't being recorded, when we were just chatting
She's
amongst friends.
24. She's a young 24.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
But yeah, so look at Kevin Spacey as an example. One example, he's not the only one who's out there who's sexually abused people, or abused people in general, and said horrific things whilst being recorded, and had those opinions, which are also horrific whether recorded or not. But his acting is still fantastic. I can't help myself. His acting, his directing, there is a beauty to the artwork that he does, and I can't deny it. Just can't deny that I'll sit and enjoy a Kevin Spacey film every now and then, despite finding him morally reprehensible. And
So I'm glad that everyone's like listening to this,
Yeah.
because this is going to be the last episode of the podcast that we do.
It won't, because let's face it, I think we all do it to a degree. I don't think there's
Yeah.
a single person out there who can judge someone, and well, we do judge people, but who can actually go, oh, you know what, I fucking hate Michael Jackson, even though I've loved him my entire life, but because he's a pede. That bit I shouldn't say, 'cause
Can
it's never
we
been
stop
proven.
digging this particular hole? Can we stop digging this particular hole, please?
Yeah, no, okay, I'm
Let's
going to
stop
stop.
digging
I'm
this
going
hole.
to stop.
Please
Gonna
tell me
stop.
what's floating your boat, and tell me it's not sex offenders and
I mean, it's
paedophiles
never going to
and
be sex offenders
sexual
or paedophiles.
harassment people.
No, that is never going to float my boat. I can promise you that, because
Please.
yeah, I have a certain standing on those things, and yeah. I have many things floating my boat. I finally finished, well, no, not finally finished, finally actually got round to reading Candice Brathwaite's I Am Not Your Baby Mama. Well, I Am Not Your Baby Mother. I apologise. Get it right. I Am Not Your Baby Mother. Her book is absolutely phenomenal. Very short read, very important read for, I think, everyone, not just women, everyone should read that book, because it is so beautifully written. It's very short. It's a very conversational book. I feel like she writes as if she's sitting down and getting all this stuff off her chest, but in a way that is intelligible rather than ranty. It's beautiful. So that's like one of my main things this week that's really floated my boat, because I have got through that in less than a week, and I haven't been able to get through a book. I mean, it's a short book, but I haven't been able to get through a book so quickly.
short.
I think it's like just over 200 pages, like 230 pages. So
Oh, yeah.
quite short.
Yeah.
But it was one of those books where I wanted to take the time off work. I actually was desperate to book a holiday from work, because I was like, I just want to read this. I don't want to do any work. So that's how good that was. You would think the other thing floating in my boat this week would be my brand new phone, which actually works, unlike my old phone, which did not. But it's
Which
not, and I
was
wish I'd brought it
awful.
up with me. So this week, I've been working from home, and my desk situation is a bit of a precarious one. I've got not much room at home, so a fold-up desk, fold-up chair. Everything's pretty much fold up, and you know the heights are a bit off and things like that. But the one thing that I've really struggled with is normally my desk at work, I keep my paperwork lying flat, even though I'm copying from paperwork to a computer. I normally keep it flat on the desk. It doesn't bother me. But because of the height of the table that I'm currently working at, it's very difficult, and I'm ended up like in this weird crunched up posture type position, getting backache, which has never happened to me before. So I haven't got room on my desk for a document holder, like, you know, those document stands. Don't have
Yep.
room for one of them. But what I did find on a particular well-known website that I'm not going to name because I don't believe they deserve any extra money, and I've already given it to them, is like a fold-up leaflet stand, like for, you know, leaflets that you get at the doctor's office or whatever, wherever you go
Yeah.
these days, because there's nowhere open to get a piece of paper. But yeah, and it's like a fold-up leaflet stand, so it's tiny, but it works so well, and it changed my entire Friday, and I'm so happy, because although we're not recording this on a Friday, I'm still happy from it. So yeah, and my voice is a bit today, so I do apologise. I'm going high, low. I go high and low every week. But it's worse today.
Today's a bad day.
Today's a bad one, people. So yeah, so that, and also I currently have a full-blown obsession with interiors. So print interior magazines. Like, I know you can get any magazine you want online. I don't care about online. I don't care about digital copy. From the girl who's recording a podcast.
I don't care about the internet.
But I absolutely am so enjoying print magazines, to the point where I bought a copy of Red. I bought a copy of Home Style magazine, and I'm just like really enjoying the tangible.
Is lockdown getting to you? Are you okay?
No, I've always loved a print magazine. I used to, oh God, way back when, as a nanny, I would spend about 50 quid a week on magazines.
50 quid a week?
Well, magazines are expensive, and I used to read all of the music magazines, and I used to read what I considered women's magazines, but ones that primarily focused on makeup consumerism. So yeah, I used to read a lot of magazines back in the day. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So those are my basic things floating my boat because I'm a basic bitch this week.
This week? I thought it was every week.
Oh,
I'm a savage.
I consider my dog had to fix your computer earlier. I think, he's
No.
a basic bitch now.
Okay, I had some issues earlier. My microphone stopped working, and we were really worried that we would not be able to record the pod. And Ruby, this is Adele's dog, suggested through the magical medium which is Adele's voice to maybe turn my computer off and on again.
Yeah.
And it magically worked.
It did work, and I would not have thought of that immediately unless Ruby had come up and nudged me at that very moment. And I swear she telepathically just transmitted
told
that,
you.
Yeah, and because I wouldn't have thought, I was just panicking. I was fully panicking, and Ruby came up, nudged me at the very moment she was needed to let us know. Turn it on and off again, you dumb bitches.
You've got an intelligent dog there.
She's
impressive.
very intelligent. So intelligent that yesterday I dropped a clean sock coming out the washing machine, and I must have dropped it somewhere like between, it was already out of the washing machine and in the laundry room, and I dropped it. So instead of like leaving it where it was, she picked it up and put it next to the washing machine for me.
With that slobbery mouth of hers.
Yeah, I know. Oh my God, she don't. But she has chewed up.
Am I lying? Am I lying about your dog?
Well,
Is your
no.
dog slobbery?
She doesn't slobber like a normal St. Bernard. She doesn't like have that drool all the time. But all mouths are slobbery. Like all mouths have saliva. She did, however. I was
she just does it a
showering
little
and
bit
washing my hair this morning, and because the attention was not on her, she chewed up one of my books and my magazine.
What book has she chewed up?
The one I recommended to you because I hate it so much. I think you should read it just to know how good the quality of your own writing is. That one.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm not gonna. That's a really long way of getting around the title, but I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I can see it.
Sorry, I'm showing
as much
Danny
in the camera as you want.
Yeah, and it doesn't show as much on the magazine, but she did it on the magazine as well that I was reading, which was
not your Red magazine.
Yeah, but I don't care for Red. I got that bored of it. I skipped straight to the horoscopes, and normally I leave them. So Also, I'm angry at Homestyle magazine for being too white as well. So it's too white.
The injustices of the day.
Well, it actually is. I mean, I say this slightly laughing because I'm white, but actually it really does piss me off that I buy these home and interior designs magazines and you only ever see white faces. Come on, guys, get a fucking grip.
Play the game.
Yeah, just get a grip. We're in the 21st century. Let's stop denying that other ethnicities exist. Like, come on. Where are the people of other ethnicities in these magazines? It makes me fucking fuming. Excuse my language. Sorry, well, Danny's nan.
Oh yes, we need to speak about this. My lovely nan was my Christian. Church of England nan.
Yeah, she's Church of England.
Very religious. Found out about the podcast, which was not my idea. Other family members suggested it, and I was dead against it. And then I went over to her house the other day. I got telling off. Yeah, I got a telling off for all the sweat. Well, actually, no, Adele got a telling off.
I got the telling off via you because your nan says I'm a horrible influence on you.
That Adele swears so much, it's disgusting. Yeah, she's described this podcast as disgusting, which is highly amusing to me.
Tell them all what her actual compliment was.
Oh, yeah. So also another caveat to that is then my mum pipes up. I wonder where I get my sense of humour from. She goes, well, actually, I think you'll find that they were both swearing the same amount. I'm like, thank you, mother. Got my back there, don't you? So I'm in even more trouble. And then my mum goes, do you have any positives, any things that you liked about it? And the response to that was, it's too long. So
the positive is too long.
That was a positive. the podcast is too long. By the time we finish, he's forgotten what we said in the beginning. And then my mum was trying to say, well, what about Jeremy Vine? You like listening to them and they're on for 2 or 3 hours. And her response to that is, yeah, but they've got stuff to talk about. So
wow.
My nan is savage. It's genetic. It runs in the family. We are all savages in this family. Wow. Christmas is a delight.
I can imagine. I can only imagine. So anyway, that's my things that are floating my boat. I'm really not speaking very passionately about compared to normal. So what's floating yours, Miss Danielle?
Well, it's a person this time.
Oh,
a person is floating my... Yeah, I know. I'm sorry, someone who brought their boss last week. Yeah, it's weird.
My boss, I miss them already.
Yeah, whatever. Okay,
I do.
So
fuck you.
I've been saying before how like writing has been a bit of a struggle at the minute, and so I like listening to Neil Gaiman's podcasts or like podcasts that he's on. I just find the man very soothing and comforting. Like if you said wisdom needs to have a voice, like just someone that personifies wisdom, I feel like it's him.
Oh yes.
Like he just feels very sage and very wise and very...
His voice is very soothing, isn't it?
Yes.
Naturally, he's got this very sort of measured tone. Oh, it's beautiful.
It's a calm presence.
Yeah.
And I find him very interesting to listen to, like his views about writing and like just creativity in general. I find very interesting. So he's floated my boat this week, and I listened to a podcast he did with, I believe it was a journalist from something about books. Anyway, and it was about lockdown.
We're so informed today, Danny. Look at us both stringing so many sentences together.
It was a podcast. You just summoned. There was people. It was for an event. If you type in Neil Gaiman podcast, it was like the third one down.
Okay.
It was for an event, like an event, and they'd posted it to YouTube. And he was just speaking about like how he was really struggling because his family, I think his child, I don't know if it's a boy or
Which
girl
one? Because he's got many.
It's his youngest one.
Oh yeah, the boy.
He said about bedtime
got a little boy.
Yeah. So he can't see him at the minute because he's in New Zealand. So I imagine like the lockdown came when they were separated, and so he's hoping to see his family again properly, and he's sort of not really doing much and not really being able to get out, and he's finding it quite tricky. And I think it was just nice to not hear someone's having a bad time. That sounds bad.
No, but it makes you feel like you're not alone, and that there are, even though someone who not has everything but appears to have a lot of the things you want, successful writing career, very respected, and you know his life is quite sorted and settled, but yeah, he's also struggling. It's nice to hear that. It's a bit camaraderie in a way as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if anybody's like doing something creative, even if it's not writing, I would suggest just listening to him. Just the way he talks about creative pursuits is very like, it feels complicated but also really simple.
But
like
I think
it's eloquent how he just describes it. It's really nice to listen to.
It is, and I 100% agree as well that it's not just for writers, it's anyone who creates. I feel like he explains it in such a way that it opens it up to every creative person. And even if you don't feel like you're a creative person, just listen to him. Just listen, and I promise you will feel something you can apply to business, to whatever, because he just makes it so available. Yeah, I think
he's very so it's sort of him, and then I've been listening to a bit of Brandon Sanderson. He's very good. I like he does these lectures on YouTube, so if anyone's interested in writing, they're completely free, and it's a university degree he's done in America somewhere, I don't know where, but they're on YouTube.
Again, she's so informed.
I've got like all the information. But if you type in Brandon Sanderson's lectures, it'll just come up. There's loads of sites, channels that have posted it. I would highly recommend them for anybody because they break down writing in a sort of academic way, which sometimes when you ask people about writing, it can be very flowery, the answer you get. It's just like...
And I think sometimes it helps to have something that's a bit more academic, so you've got structure. Like
the last one I watched was about geography, in the sense of, okay, you're doing a map for your world, because obviously he does fantasy, mostly, bit of sci-fi. If you're doing a map for your world, and it's like talking about the geography of like where rivers would be, and where like mountains would be, and how like there's something to do with like if mountains are too tall, there can be sections where it's green grass and then desert next to
Mhm.
it because of the way the mountains are formed, which is super interesting to me. I don't know if I'm just a massive nerd, but
no, I
that
think
really...
it is. If you've got someone who's reading it, and I'm not going to say this, how could I put it without sounding like I'm speaking for everyone who's autistic? But say you've got someone who's autistic who is reading fantasy, but they've also got a massive, massive interest in geography, and that's like their specialist subject. And you know, when you're autistic, there are certain topics that you get really into. And if someone gets something wrong, it can ruin an entire experience. I know for me that if someone gets something wrong in a book, I can't just brush over it, especially if it's something I'm very knowledgeable about. It ruins the entire book. And I think that's such an important thing when it comes to things that are realistic, like geography, history, even in fiction, to get those things right for your audience. It's super important. It might not be if you're doing something that doesn't really require, like if it's not based in this real world and it's completely sci-fi, so it's based on a planet that has nothing in common with any other planets, But when it is based on something that has a lot in common with our world, whether that's just the style of planet it's on, whatever, I think those things are important. So it is important to have those people who are willing to speak and give the academic style talks on those.
But yeah, it's a very good channel. Interesting. They go into subjects like getting an agent, getting like doing self-publishing versus traditionally published. It's a long series, but he like goes into depth. Like, I haven't watched it fully yet, but they're just talking about horses. How like people who write fantasy tend to get horses completely wrong. Like, and the people that know how, like, ride horses and know about horses just can't read them because they're like, they're so off.
Yeah.
By like a country mile they're off. So, again, I would recommend anything Neil Gaiman says, and those lectures by Brandon Sanderson, again, amazing. Super interesting. Again, the Brandon Sanderson ones are more writing based, but the Neil Gaiman, I think you could just listen to no matter what your interests. It's just nice to hear. A very sage man speak.
Yes.
About
and I
wisdom
think,
and
especially at the moment when everyone's a little bit, I think most people are now a bit frustrated with lockdown. As an introvert, I am not. I'm happy in lockdown. But I think a lot of people are getting to the point where they're either very, very anxious because of the pandemic or really frustrated with the lockdown. And I think just listen to Neil Gaiman for like half an hour. And if that man's voice and intelligence and words do not soothe your soul like a very, very, very expensive lip balm would on your chapped lips, then I don't know what else will. Yeah, I was thinking like there's like a Dr. Hauschka lip balm, which it's not actually as expensive as the By Terry one, but it's very good. But it's also about 15 quid for a tiny pot of lip balm. I know, but that is Neil's game. Well, it smells beautiful.
The price you've just said and the size you've just specified, I'm stressed now.
No, don't be, because
I need to go leave this podcast and listen to more Neil Gaiman. I'm stressed.
I haven't bought it for a long time because I feel that is way expensive for lip balm these days. Now I'm trying to be sensible with money.
Yeah.
But yeah, but Neil Gaiman, soothing for the soul.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No matter who you are.
Yeah, it doesn't. It really genuinely, even if you've never read a single one of his books, I promise you, by the end of listening to him talk, you will be curious. You will be curious. And any of his books are fantastic.
I think he was reading an extract from The Ocean at the End of the Lake.
Oh my God, I love that book. I genuinely.
I had never even considered to read it. It just never even was. I'd heard of it, but it never like.
Oh,
I didn't really know what it was about. I just heard the name.
You don't need
to. I was like,
to.
oh. And then literally he read an extract, and I had a walk today, and I had him on while I was walking because I was on my own, so I just had my headphones in. And by the end of hearing, it was only like he read it for 5 minutes, and that was it. And I was then super interested in reading it.
Can I just say that is one of the few books. There are very, very few books I read and actually scare me. Now that is like a young adult. I don't know if it's middle grade or young adult book.
Yeah.
But holy cow, it was one of those books that you have to keep reading. I think it was Mark Owen back in the 90s that said he had to keep reading Stephen King books till he got to a happy part. That was kind of like the ocean at the end of the lane for me, because I had to keep reading to get past the scary parts just to get to a positive part. And I'm not going to say it's scary for everyone, But it's one of those books that really got inside my head, and despite it being actual fantasy, so therefore this is something that's not going to happen, it was like it had me on the edge of my seat. It had me feeling anxious for the characters. It was so well written. And I remember, I'm going to go off on a tangent, I'm so sorry. I remember I finished that book a few days before I was meant to fly out to go and see my husband in Los Angeles. And I got on the plane, and this particular flight was such a weird flight because my absolute idol from when I was a child, singer Ginger from the Wild Hearts, was on the same flight as me and kept walking up and down past me. So I was like super hyped because like this guy was on my plane and like stood next to me in line to get on the plane, and then he was standing next to me to get drinks and whatever, and I was like shaking because he was there. But then the guy who was like sitting next to me on the flight was reading The Ocean at the End of the Lane, and this is the power of Neil Gaiman's writing, completely distracted me from Ginger being on the flight because I was so excited that this other guy was reading the same book as me. And so we ended up like totally having a full-blown conversation. I was like, dude, when you finish reading that, because he was like close to the end, I was like, let me know how you feel because I just finished it myself. And so we ended up spending like an 8-hour flight just chatting to each other as if we'd known each other forever, because we both had similar taste in books and had similar reasons for our travel and things like that. So yeah, it was really such a weird situation that this guy happened to be reading the same book that I just finished. And yeah, but you tend to find Neil Gaiman fans will always gravitate towards each other. And Terry Pratchett fans too. There are two authors where those people will gravitate towards each other and always find common ground.
I think because I didn't start like properly reading until I was like 21, maybe? Yeah, it was early 20s, definitely. I mean, I'm still in my early 20s, clinging to them, the grim death.
I would say you're probably in your mid-20s when you reach 24.5.
I mean, you can say words and they're hurtful, but it doesn't mean they're true. But, yeah, so I've only just sort of started properly getting into reading. And, yeah, I read the Harry Potter books when I was, like, 20, so...
Well, to be fair, I mean, you're probably about the same as me, because I read a lot as a child, like up until I got to high school, and then I just stopped. I read magazines, as we've just discussed about my spending habits on magazines, but I read a lot of magazines. I probably didn't pick up a book until I was in my late teens, and they were all like the trashy... I shouldn't throw women's fiction under the bus, but they were classed at the time as trashy chick lit. And now we have a lot more respect.
I think it's got its place.
It does. It has it actually.
Because that's my personal thing. If it gets you reading, I don't care what you're reading.
Well, I also think that women's fiction does have a place, and it's... I'm going to go into this. I'm not going to go into it too far, but it's the patriarchy and the dominance of men in journalism and in most high positions that lead to things being called chicklet and trashy. That's by the by.
Burn this podcast to the ground.
I don't care. Yeah. I have opinions. I'm entitled to them. Suck it.
Yeah. It's an offer, isn't it?
Well, so I didn't start reading properly until I too read Harry Potter well into my 20s. I mean, it wasn't out until I was well into my 20s. So there you go. But I can remember. I think it was like it was already out, but. I can remember the 5th Harry Potter book, Order of the Phoenix, best one there is, actually came out on one of my birthdays. I think it was like my 22nd birthday. It was 21st birthday. It came out on my 21st birthday. I was like freaking stoked, man. I got that book on the day, took a day off work to go and get it. Oh my God, yeah. So I think it's normal.
My favourite one was Prisoner of Azkaban.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Were you a Sirius Black fan? Did you have a crush on Sirius Black?
No.
Wow, that's weird. What about...
I just kind of liked the... what was happening? I can't remember anything else that was happening, but it just felt like the whole school year felt fun. If that was it. Hermione was doing all that time travel stuff. Yeah. And I just really enjoyed it as the whole thing. And then I think you kind of got to see a bit more like of people's emotional sides. And I love that. In fiction, like, get me people sad. I love people sad in fiction. I love, like, I want to read something or watch something that physically hurts me. I know that sounds really weird, but I love it.
No, I don't personally do that, but I can see where people who do want something that's going to bring about a strong emotion. I can understand that. I mean, I don't care for having a strong emotion. I can
I
have
love
that in
it.
my real life.
If a
But-
TV show can make me cry,
Mhm.
you've won. Like, I
Which is
love
why
it.
she watches
I love
The
getting
Circle.
super upset and like just having like, you won't get it, but when Game of Thrones was good and it was like the Red Wedding, oh my god, because I watched it as it came out, literally
Mhm.
from the beginning because somebody recommended it to me, and the Red Wedding, I just sat in silence for 10 minutes because I couldn't compute what had just happened. And I just love that. I love, like, because that means I'm invested. That means you've taken like a piece of my soul and then you're going to spit on it and stamp on it and give it me back. And I'll go, okay. It's my favorite thing when TV shows or books or whatever. When
can
fiction,
really
like,
make you
ruins
feel that strength of.
Yeah, and like when it stays with you, when you're just like at work or something and you're just thinking about, like, I finished this book. What was it called? The Couple Next Door. I forget the author's name. But if you Google The Couple Next Door, it'll be there. And that, like, stayed with me for a whole day when I finished it. I was like, oh, and that's, like, it's not, like, the biggest highbrow thing you'll ever read. It's just a thriller, domestic thriller, I think they're
yeah.
called, when it's, you know, like
It's like,
suburban life
yeah.
in America.
Either
And
domestic
just-
thriller or suburban thriller, some people I think
Yeah.
refer to them as.
And it just, literally, I could not stop thinking about. I was just at work, just staring, like making a cup of tea and just staring at the cup, going, "Oh my god!"
I've got a few books like that, and I'm going to have to mention it because Michael Marshall Smith also writes under the name of Michael Marshall. Wrote a book called The Straw Men. Holy crap, that's a thriller, and that one stayed with me. That was another one that, like, out of there's probably like a handful of books that actually terrify me. That was one of them. And I will admit, like, where we live, the city we live in, there's a character within the book that's called the Upright Man, and is referred to as the Upright Man. And where we live, there is an architectural firm that the name is like 3 or 4 names put together. And I use public transport, and I was going to my previous job, and as you come around the corner, just before I got to work, there was this architectural firm. And the fact it's an architectural firm is also very relevant to the book as well. I'm going to specify, please read the book. It's so bloody good. If you haven't heard of Michael Marshall, just go out and get The Straw Men. But as I was coming around the corner, I suddenly looked up, and the only words I could see of this architectural firm's name was Upright Man. Holy shit, I nearly died. I was like, oh my god. It was a scary moment. It was like,
Stressful.
what on earth? Yeah. But I'm going to recommend that one to you as well, Danny, because I think
Yeah.
you've got it's an older book now, so there is stuff that's going to be dated within it, and if you can just get over that, like technology-wise and things like that. But it's such a good read. It's a good time. There's 3 books.
Try,
but
if
in
you
the
like
series.
like a little bit scary, I'd try that C.J. Tudor, The
Yeah,
Taking of
I
Annie
don't
Thorne.
like- I've got that on as a sample on my Kindle, but I really don't like scary books.
Oh my god, literally that's the only book I've ever read that freaked me out. Like, I actually had to put it down for a sec. I did like a Joey from Friends and nearly put it in the freezer. Like, it was just too much. For a second I was like, nope, turn it over, and I just had to sit and go, oh my god, this is so stressful.
Yeah.
But I enjoy
Yeah.
that. I enjoy being
I-
scared.
no.
I enjoy being like freaked out, sad.
I don't like being scared, and I think the only reason I really enjoyed that book is same as with The Ocean at the End of the Lane, is that the writing style of both Michael Marshall and Neil Gaiman, they're authors who I've read like a lot of their back catalogue already, so I already knew their work and their writing style and loved it. And I think that's what made me read those books and made them enjoyable for me, despite the fact that it wasn't because of them being like, it was more despite that, because I would not read a scary book on a normal day.
I
No
quite
way.
enjoy a scary book. Freak
I
me
can
out.
imagine you
Scare
like
me.
the extreme emotions. So yeah,
I'm here for the. I think because my life is very mundane, that I seek my extremeness.
yeah.
through.
Whereas my life might be mundane, but I am someone who also gets high anxiety at times, and I'm like, nope, I'll just leave all the scary stuff for everyone else.
No,
I
love
have
it.
enough anxiety in my life without adding to it, so I don't need
Yeah,
someone
I
to put
want
suggestions
to
in
be
my brain.
actively stressed
Yeah,
in a
no.
controlled environment. In my
No.
own life, I'm like, don't stress me out. I mean, I think I'm pretty not hard to stress out, but like
You
I
are
think I'm-
calm compared to me
I'm a-
and compared to a
I'm
lot of
a
your
calm,
friends.
person
Yeah.
until pushed, and then I'm not calm.
No, well, yeah, this is it. I mean, sometimes you have rage just to get things off your chest, but it's not like you're not a naturally overly anxious person all the time. Whereas
No.
I am someone who overthinks everything, will think of worst case scenario just to be prepared for it, rather than because I believe that's what's going to happen. I just want to be prepared for it because I'm so anxious that if I'm not prepared for it, my anxiety will go through the roof. So
Yeah.
I need to know that I've got something next to my bed every night that I could use to twat a intrude around the head if I needed to. No, I do, and I purposely do.
No, it's not. It was just the word twat. That's what got me. It's not the concept of keeping something by your bed. It was just the word twat around the head of these.
Much like my thing about, how we talked about previously, if we were walking down a dark street at night, how I wouldn't wear my glasses because then that signifies to someone if they remove my glasses I'm more vulnerable. That's my anxiety working, so I need to be prepared for that by either wearing contact lenses or knowing I can see far enough without them. And so, but you are not like that at all. You're just like, whatever. Like, I'm prepared.
I think I'm not anger based, but like I get more irritated at stuff, whereas you're more anxious at stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe a bit moody. I'm not super moody, but I can be like, I mean, don't make that noise. I'm not like the moodiest person you've ever met. Please say it. Say nice things. But it's like, this is the thing though. If I'm in the mood to like chat, talk, whatever, I'm in the mood. For dancing, romancing. Okay, but like this is the thing. I wear my heart on my sleeve. Like if I'm not in the mood, I'm not in the mood. Yeah. I'm just like. So if you ever if anyone ever hangs out with me, I'm just literally. There's no like, oh, you a snake. Like you lying to me. If I like you, I like you. If I don't, I don't.
I also think this is the thing with you because you are someone who is quite I don't want to say easygoing in terms of you are passionate about things and you do have, obviously you're human, you have many, many emotions, but because you're so easy going and so easy to get on with, I think people tend to push and push and push and push you until you get ready to like do what I've got ready to do with an intruder.
Head.
Basically, smack a bitch upside the head. And I think that's the thing with you. People see this easygoing side and be like, yeah, Danny's super easy to be around. And then like they push all your buttons and you're just like, BAM!
Bam! That's a, if I ever kick off, like people get really scared.
Yeah.
Because I'm like super chill and then it's like, whoa.
Yeah.
I do like a mum stare. I'm not even a mum, but I'll do a mum stare. And I'm like,
I think you've got a good mum stare because you've learnt well from your own mum.
Yeah, she's got like that. You know, I never want to get on the wrong side of my mum. Like, damn, please. Like,
I'm saying nothing. I'm saying nothing.
You've already upset my nan this week.
Yeah, exactly. No, I wouldn't want to go for your mum. I love your mum. I think she's awesome.
Yeah.
So,
speaking of women, I wanted to bring this up because it made me laugh this week. I've been on nights. Again, I've said I work in a hospital. I've worked in care since I was like 20, 21, and before that I worked in housekeeping. So primarily, because I want to get your opinion on this, I've worked with women my entire life.
Oh, okay.
And you've worked quite a lot with men.
I mean, I've worked with women in the start of my career, a lot with women, and then I say the latter part as if I'm ready to retire. But for these past 4 years, I've worked solely with men. And prior to that, one of my temporary jobs, I was one of the only women working as an activities person. Not in the office. I was not in the office for that particular. I was working an events job. There was mainly women in the office, and the people who actually actively worked the events were mainly men. So yeah, for the past, I would say 7 years, I've probably worked mostly with men.
So I want to ask your opinion on this because this is just a theme I've noticed with women. I'm not saying this is all women because I don't do this, but this is a very common theme amongst women. So this week it's been snowing a lot in our area, and like there's this thing that happens when snow starts falling. I mean, it can be sleet. And it's like panic starts, drifting through the air. Women who are like fully confident and happy within themselves start going, I'm going to have to ring Kevin. It's sleeting outside. I'm going to have to ring Kevin to come and get them. And I'm like, ladies, the ground is not yet white. Can we please take a second to calm down? No. Then the panic starts going and then it sticks to the ground. It gets a little bit white and then some sage woman that's been there for 10 years will stand by the window and go, I've never seen snow like this for 10 years. First day I was here, it snowed. and no one got out. Nobody got out. We were here for a week. And you're like, really? Did that happen? And they're like, yes, it did. But they stand there stoic at the window watching the snowfall. Ladies, it's time. Call your men to arms. I'm like, what? What is going on? Why is everyone stressing? And then obviously, because I ain't got nobody come pick me up, I'm like, well, I'm going to have to get myself home.
Mm-hmm.
So they're all panicking, ringing Kevin and this, and then I'll just start saying, yeah, I'm going to have to ring like Antonio. I'm like, who? I'm like, there's no Antonio. I just like saying names to different people. I want to do it on Christmas cards as well, because always at Christmas I get cards being like, from Jeanette and Steve. I'm like, I don't know Steve. Why is Steve writing me a card?
This is the thing. I always find that really funny about how, like, you'll have colleagues at work, and this happens, men and women. Men and women do it, but, like, they'll always sign it from them and their partners. I'm like, but I've never met your partner. They don't care if I have a good Christmas.
If I wrote cards, if I could be asked to write people cards, I would write a different name on each card.
I will say, though, I mean, I kind of wish that I had the wherewithal to do that when I was younger, because that would have been hilarious. I was single throughout my entire 20s, so that would have been hilarious.
Just being like, from Dave. From Alan, from like, just see if anyone compared notes.
And also, it'd be even better if you had a person whose birthday was like Christmas Day, Christmas-ish, you know, so you could write them, the same person, a card that they're going to open around a similar time with just different names. Just go for it. If you know anyone like that, just go for it, Danny. Do it.
I really want to do it though, but the thing that's stopping me is I could never be asked to write cards.
I'll write them for you. I hate writing cards, but I'll do it for other people.
Just for the banter.
Yeah, just for the banter.
Putting a different name. In each one.
So I will do that for you. Put
a lady's name next to it. Spice it up a bit. Like, it's fun. I just love it so
I
much.
might
I just
do.
get all these cards from people that's like, from Janet and Steve, from Mary and Trevor. It's like, I don't know these people.
Well, it's not just that. It's when they put their kids in it. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I put Ruby's name in my cards to my friends.
Don't
care.
Do it.
I'm going to do it
dog.
to you. I'm going to put big paw prints on your birthday card.
That's cute though. But that's a birthday card, and I know your dog very well. But a Christmas
I don't do it to random strangers. I do it to my friends who, like, I know their dogs well and they know my dog well, because you want to wish the whole entire family, and dogs are part of the family, you want to wish their entire family a Merry Christmas. And I know that Ruby couldn't give a shit about Christmas. Excuse my language yet again.
Sorry, Nan.
Sorry, Mary. I know she couldn't give a woof about Christmas.
Oh, that's it. Sold.
But I also know that if she understood the concept of the baby Jesus and Christmas and Christianity, and if she chose to, I don't think she would choose to be a Christian, but if she did choose to be a Christian, that's her prerogative, and would want to wish
just
other
like
people.
Britney Spears.
It's my prerogative. Oh, we've hit so many controversial topics. I mean, well, you know my beginning thing of talking about controversial artists. Well, since we closed that down at the beginning of the pod, we've actually just hit the milestone of 2 other artists that have got controversy behind their art. And I'm not talking Britney, I'm talking the writer of that particular song. So, if you don't know who the writer is, I highly suggest you Google it and why he is controversial. Yeah, so I've completely lost my tangent there talking about Ruby and Christianity.
What I wanted to talk about as well.
Women in Snow is what we were.
Women in Snow was funny,
about.
And it's hilarious just how the room changes.
Yes,
these
and
confident women just turn. I'm like, what is going on, ladies?
Yeah,
please.
Like, I know women who literally.
What do they do at your work when it snows?
So the guys are just like snowing in it. You know, most of them have got 4-wheel drive or whatever, because engineers tend to, you know, gravitate towards cars that are a bit fancier. That's all I can say. But yeah, most of some of them who live further away are a bit like, oh, I hope I can get home tonight, because some of them do live like a good 15, 20 mile away and live in countryside, love.
Countryside. Well, let me tell you this. So I was on nights this week, and I think nights send you weird. It sends me weird. I don't know about anyone else, but it sends me a little weird. And I'm sitting with one of the nurses who goes onto the computer. There's no snow where we are, I will add. And she goes, look at this, look at this, look at this, Danielle. I said, oh, wow, what's going on? She's looking through the CCTV cameras of a pub not too far away from where she lives.
Okay.
But but high up in the sky. This pub, it's a very high pub, so it's close to where she lives, but it's very high in the sky on a mountain somewhere. Yeah, and we're looking at the snow through these CCTV cameras at 2 a.m, and I mean, we're just watching it. And I mean, I must have sat there for 10 minutes because it was kind of drawing me in. Just
to
like,
be
look at the
fair,
snow.
though, I'm
at
going
the
to
snow there.
say that is actually kind of like, I would probably do that because I find this, this is again going off down a very dodgy road here, but there's something quite compelling about watching CCTV. Like, how can I explain this without
And then she's like
a
telling me about the trucks going past. She's like, wait for a truck go past and then you'll see it properly. Then you'll see it. Because I'm watching this grainy image of snow. And I'm like, am I high? I didn't know this was a thing we could do as a society.
Did you not?
No, because I've never
How
sat
did
and
you
watched
not?
CCTV off a
Oh.
pub that's live streaming snow before.
Yeah, like so many places live stream that CCTV now.
Honest to God. I'm just
Like
sort
there
of
was a thing
staring
at
at
the
it.
beginning of the pandemic. Well, I say the beginning, our beginning of the pandemic, so like March-ish time last year, when was it London Zoo were allowing you to just like go into their live stream with their cameras on the animals. Like nothing was happening. Just
Yeah, but that's looking at animals. I'm looking at a hillside that's white.
I mean, I'm okay with that because it's only like looking at Google Earth on the, satellite.
But I was just staring at it and thinking, I've gone crazy. I've lost my mind as I stare at this snow and they tell me how they're going to have to leave early because it's snowing on the side of a mountain.
I will say it is definitely a female thing to panic about the snow, but also the CCTV thing, I totally am 100% because when I was in Hong Kong, I think it was the first time. Yes, the first time I was in Hong Kong, the youth hostel that I was staying in, they had CCTV in the lobby, in the reception, and in both elevators. And they would, like, we had basic bitch TV, but one of the things they did give us was the channels to watch the CCTV. And so we would just sit, me and the boys, like I met a group of guys who were staying on a different floor to me, and I would hang out with them, and we would just sit sometimes and watch the CCTV and watch people's behaviour, because people's behaviour when they don't know they're being watched, particularly in like elevators, is so funny. And don't get me wrong, I will admit to going home drunk 1 or 2 nights and probably not being the best behaved person in there, but it was kind of funny to just watch how people really do behave differently when they think they're not being watched.
When you think nobody's watching.
Yeah, but hours of fun watching CCTV, like not fun, but hours of intrigue watching CCTV.
CCTV.
Yeah. And like you have a tendency to like, you can start watching people, but then if you see the same person, like someone probably saw me like 5 times in the elevator in the space of 2 hours, and you start wondering, what on earth is that person doing? Why are they going up and down so much? And yeah, so I love a bit of creepy CCTV watching.
Yeah, but it was a weird experience. I was quite confused at why I was watching it.
Because there's nothing else to do on nights when everyone else is asleep. And
when you
can't,
think people would want to sleep. Sometimes that night was particularly quiet, but other nights we just think, why don't you sleep?
Oh yeah, obviously you're working with patients, so there's going to be patients at times that aren't going to, but when it's quiet and there's nothing else to do, but it's CCTV.
You get
Snow
drawn in.
CCTV, because that's beautiful to watch. That's real.
That's real, man.
Yeah, it's real.
As opposed to those fake people roaming about.
Yeah, well, no, but like snow, it's nature. It would exist without humans. It's gorgeous.
Magical.
I'm feeling very deep today. I don't know what it is.
I know, very
not
philosophical.
coherent.
No,
Yeah, not coherent or intelligible, but
just deep.
Deep.
Just hashtag deep, my deep.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this very deep question then.
Yes. Okay.
This is something else I've noticed in my day-to-day life. I think we've got a problem in this household.
Oh.
What is your snack box situation?
Oh God, at the minute it's horrific. I think mine is much like yours, where post Christmas it's just not recovered, and I'm having to make a conscious effort to eat healthy, despite yesterday eating salt and vinegar Pringles and ended up with skin removed from my mouth.
Skin removed from your mouth?
Yeah, like I ate salt and vinegar Pringles. Anyone who's eaten them knows, much like with discos, Danny, you and I are both the same on this. With discos, there is that like kind of thing going on in your mouth, and it's like, a bit of a sting. But I am a very sensitive little flower. I become allergic to things quite easily and quite quickly that I may not have been allergic to before. I had no idea that I don't know whether it was the vinegar or something else within the Pringles. But yeah, they've taken actual skin from, like, I have had to buff around the inside of my lips to get like the skin that's peeling off because of the vinegar.
Yeah, that sounds really nice. And
Yeah, it's kind of gross, and I haven't. That's why I've got a sore throat today. Is the vinegar has like burnt my throat and my mouth. Beautiful.
Because the issue we've got in our house is we've always had a snack box, so it's just one box, yeah.
Yep.
With the snacks in, which is fine. Which
I
is
have
cool.
seen it. I've witnessed this box of snacks.
You witness the box of snacks. You have 2 biscuits and you go home. There may be some chocolate sometimes. It's fine. We're chill. We're Gucci. But then there's something that's happened around Christmas time where we were getting some treats in. You know, fair enough.
Yeah.
Oh,
Go a bit
we've got
extra.
too many treats for the box. So you put it in an overflow.
Yes.
You've got an overflow car park for the box, essentially, which is a separate box. So there's the stuff that went in the overflow, which is fine.
Yeah.
For Christmas. We are in February now,
Mm-hmm.
and there is still stuff in the overflow, and we are getting close to having another box on the go. And I've told my
know-
mother's boyfriend, I said, stop buying treats from the shop. He might have an issue with the treats.
Yeah,
Loves the
Dazza does
sugar.
like to go out to the shop every day, doesn't he? Loves
He
going
loves
out
it.
to the shop every day.
That is like his thing that makes him buzzing in life. He's like,
yeah.
ladies, I'm going to the shop. I'm like, okay. Do we need anything? No. All right, I'll just go get my fags and come back. Okay. And then he comes back bearing gifts. Gifts of toffee and Cadbury's and I'm like, Desiree, no,
But
you don't need it.
I think there's a difference because you and your mum are very very restrained when it comes to food. You're not people who can't control themselves at all. You're complete opposite of me. You're not binge eaters. You're not people who don't know when to stop. And you're actually like quite healthy eaters.
Yeah, we've got the 2 biscuit rule.
Yeah. So you are quite healthy eaters. It's very much ingrained in, I think, from your nan to you, your mum, like quite sensible eating habits, which is really, really good.
Oh no, Nan's got nothing
Is
to do with
she?
this.
Oh,
My mum
okay.
was no offense, sorry mother if you're listening, but she was chonky.
Really?
And she lost yeah.
I cannot imagine your mum because she's so fit and
She
healthy.
Was chunky. Like
Wow.
that Bruno Mars song.
I don't know.
Yeah,
that
she
song.
lost loads of weight. She
Oh
like,
wow, your mum looks amazing, but like, I know there's nothing
and I
against.
say
being
loads.
chunky.
I don't,
am
mother.
very
I don't mean
chunky.
it. You've lost a little bit of weight. You were always perfect. Thank you. Bye.
No, but like, I just can't because your mum is so fit and healthy.
Mm.
Like, she's a woman who runs. I mean, don't get me wrong, I loved running when I could, but like, she freaking loves it, doesn't she?
I don't know if she, but it's funny though. She's like, she does yoga now and stuff as well. This happened when I was coming back from my nights. So I'm pretty tired. I've walked in, I've opened the living room door, and she's doing a yoga. She's doing the downward dog, and I'm just about to say, Mother, I'm about to go for a shower. Do you need the bathroom? And before I say anything, before I even speak, she's in downward dog, and she goes, "Are you going for a shower then?" And I'm like, "What? What? What?" And I was confused. I'm like, "Did I say it? Did I say that I wanted a shower and forgot that I said it?" And I'm like, how did you know? And she's like, "I'm just intuitive. I just know what you're doing." I'm like, okay.
I mean, to be fair, the woman has raised you, so she would probably know
but
what your habits
I didn't
are.
even speak. She wasn't even looking at me. And then she just goes, "Yeah, go for your shower." I'm like,
Yeah, I think that's pretty much a mother thing, though, because like I say, she has
that
raised
blew
you.
my mind. I was so confused. I'm like washing my hair in the shower going, how does she... What?
Well, She probably wasn't expecting anyone else to walk in. You just finished
No.
shift, so you know.
Yeah, but I don't have like a shower every time. I was just going to be like... I just don't know if she did it. It freaked me out. Like, I was like, okay. I'll see you in a bit. Staring at her.
Maybe she's smelling you. Maybe you smelt that bad.
Maybe I smelled that bad. She went, it was more of a suggestion
Yeah.
than a... Yeah, go for your shower, please.
Yeah, I'm thinking that's probably what gave it away. It was like, oh,
Whoa.
too close to Danny's feet right now.
I'm literally face to the ground and I still think you smell. So go have a shower.
Yeah, I think that's probably. I was trying to be nice at first, but actually.
So like my nan's disowned me, called me disgusting. My mother thinks I smell.
Yeah.
My mum's boyfriend's just trying to feed me up and make me fat. It's going well. I feel like everything's going well.
Well, to be fair, Dazza might not be feeding you up. He might be buying the stuff for himself and just justifying it by saying, "Oh, do you want it?" You know.
Well, maybe I just take it. Maybe it is all for
Maybe,
him, and I'm
yeah.
just like greedy. I'm like, give me the snacks.
Maybe that
Give me
is
the
what it is.
chocolate.
Secretly, you
Yeah.
want him to get the snacks because you love it.
Because I love all the treats.
Yeah.
Mm.
I think that, but yeah, snack box situation I think is worse for. I don't know if it's worse for everyone. I'm going to say no, it's not, because we're quite privileged in terms of we both still have jobs. You know, we still have an income coming into the house, and you're in a situation where there are 3 incomes coming into your household. So, you know, we are privileged in that position, and there are many, many people currently who are not. But I think for those of us who are in the privileged position of having income and some financial stability during this whole period, but because we are all spending so much time at home, I think the snack box situation is probably out of control at many of the privileged houses that can afford to be. Because
if anyone wants to comment about their snack box situation, I'd love to see pictures.
Yeah.
Please send us
Yeah,
pictures of your snack
but some
box
people
situation.
have got like whole snack drawers, like not just a box that fits in a drawer, but like an entire section of their kitchen will be like 3 drawers deep in snacks. Like I had some cousins when I was a kid. I had cousins when I was a kid, and they're like pre their parents' divorce. Their parents were quite wealthy because I don't want to dox anyone or throw anyone deep in here, but their dad was a merchant navy officer or something, so he earned a fair amount and he was away a fair amount. So their house was beautiful. It was like a detached 4 bedrooms house on a private estate. Gorgeous at the time. It was like early 90s, brand new. And I'm not a new house fan, so I'm saying this as someone who appreciated it just for how, you know, architecturally bland but nice. Bland.
I love the backhanded compliment.
Yeah, I know, right? But yeah, they had like 3 entire drawers in their kitchen just dedicated to snacks. Like, I don't know how, because there was only 3 of them living there, but you know.
Yeah, I don't know how we've got like a snack box, an overflow car park, and boxes that are getting filled.
It just happens, and I think at the moment there's so many good snacks out there, and I'm not talking about your basic ass Pringle like this bitch goes and gets. But I'm talking about like there's all these like new vegan, like, oh my god, vegan cheese.
Get that shit out of my face.
No. But like they're not Doritos, they're non-branded, but like vegan cheese Doritos, that kind of thing. Oh my goodness. And chickpea snacks. Beautiful.
It sounds
Beautiful.
grim. Sounds grim.
No, gorgeous. But then there's all these new chocolates as well, and you know yourself, you're a Milka Oreo fan. But Milka have also got a Milka Dime. That's the way to go. That is the way to go.
That is nice. I'm on board with like most chocolate apart from like dark, unless it's an after 8.
No. What? The darker the better.
Controversial. No, I'm being controversial now. Dark, unless it's an after 8, get out of my face. And then also send fruit and nuts away from me.
Oh,
don't bring that into my zone. I don't want your fruit and nuts. I'm here for chocolates. I'm not here for your weird texture of really hard, then really like...
Wow. I am going to get myself a fruit and nut just to spite you.
Eat it because it's gross, and then I won't have to.
I'm going to film myself eating it and enjoying it and sending it to you. That's what I'm going to do.
That you enjoy yourself, and I'll post it. Just you suggestively eating.
I'm not going to suggestively eat it. I never said that.
I just know you. I just know you.
Have you ever seen me suggestively eat?
All the time. Every time you
That's
eat,
not
you
true.
give me them weird eyes, and I'm like, whoa, chill out.
That's not true. I eat
Adele,
obnoxiously.
You know just a
full
carbonara,
well.
calm down.
You know full well that I've never once suggestively eaten in your presence, because when I'm in your presence, we're normally like the loudest, most obnoxious, witchy, cackling women in the building. So there is no way of suggestively eating while you're cackling.
I said it wrong then. Obnoxiously. Just constantly, every time we speak.
That is, I swear one day we're going to get, because before pandemic, we used to meet up and go to quite nice places for food. And we'd make like a bit of effort. You know, we'd meet up, we'd not get dressed up massively, but we would make some effort, go somewhere nice, treat it like a proper friend date. And like go places where it was expected you'd have some sort of decorum. But then we'd turn up looking nice and whatever. but any kind of
Just in the
it was
corner.
worse. We were like, as we've discussed previously about how we can be awful when we're drunk, but even sober, we're like the two drunk women in a really
Yeah.
nice restaurant that are going to get kicked out.
Yeah.
That is us. We're loud, we're laughing. You know, one day there's going to be a maitre d' or something coming across and saying, "Excuse me, ladies,
You need to leave.
could you just turn it down a little bit?" And then they'll do that and we won't turn it down, and they'll be like, "We've had some issues with other customers asking if
And
you
then
could
I'll
just..."
say, I'm paying, so I'm staying. I'll chuck another tenner in the face, but in the shrapnel.
And that's the point where we'll get kicked out because it's
And
suddenly
then I get done for
become...
assault, and then I'm in prison.
Yeah.
Damn it.
That's the point where they're going to kick us out, because the minute you start like being, "I'm a paying customer, I want to be here," which is exactly
I
how
don't know
Danny
why
sounds.
I'm American all of a sudden. I'm a paying customer. I'm going to be here no matter what you say. Here's my money. That's not how I say it. Why am I American?
It is when she gets aggressive.
Not
that's
all Americans
exactly
sound
how
like
she
that, I'm aware.
sounds. And then, yeah, that's the point where they'll call someone over and we'll be like manhandled in the worst way right out the building.
But it'll be a fun story for the pod there, won't it?
It will. You've got all Freddy Krueger on me now.
Don't make me go to Freddy Krueger because I'll do it. Before this podcast, we were just talking at each other like in Scouse accents, and it was awful. And we were just
So
chuckling,
awful.
saying the name Freddy Krueger in a Scouse accent.
Freddy Krueger.
Don't stop me because I'll go. I'll go into Freddy Krueger.
So
and
highly
here's about him.
offensive.
He's come along, Freddy Krueger, and he's ruined me dreams.
Oh my god, it's so offensive to anyone who's actually from
Yeah,
Liverpool. I
we apologise
apologise
to anybody who's from America, Liverpool, or anywhere else in the world. Thank you.
anyone who's not a part of our little social bubble here. Not
Basically,
pandemic social
Anyone
bubble.
that's
just
not
us.
us,
Yeah,
we apologise.
That was highly offensive.
To anybody but us.
Yep. Oh Lord. Oh Danny, I think we right, so I think because I'm very deep and soulful today, I've been reading, but it's not just any old reading.
Oh, hello.
No, I've been not self-help, but I guess self-discovery. So I've been reading this
Sorry, yeah,
shut
carry
it,
on.
you shut it.
Sorry. Shut it. Shut it. Nah. You slag.
So
No,
I've
go
had
on.
this book called The Year of You, and you can't really, it's not a book you read because
Yeah.
each day is a different question, each month is a different theme, and it's by a lady called Hannah Brame. So I've had this book, and I keep going through day by day when I can be asked and remember.
Okay.
So we'll do today's question, and
Okay.
I want you to answer the question, but then afterwards,
Okay.
to make it a bit more random, you can pick a month and day within that month, and we'll go to that.
Oh.
Yeah, let's
Oh.
jazz things up a bit. So, what day are we on
Let's get
today? February. I'm not
The
going to name.
6th.
Right. Okay.
Okay. 'Kay.
So,
Sorry. Fucked it. Boys, I fucked it.
Anyway, question of the day, because anyone who has this book will know the date from the question anyway. Don't matter.
Nobody's got the book. I mean, I've just said the date.
Wow. Wow. Other people may have this book.
Wow. Yeah, but they're probably not listening to us. We have like
That's
10
true.
subscribers. It's
Yeah, I
fine.
know, right?
Thanks for the 10 though. Thanks, mum and family.
Yay. Thank you, people.
Thank you.
So, what from your past do you feel most proud of? And not just meeting me, Danny. You can't say that because I know you're proud of meeting me.
Shit.
Wow, this is super interesting, guys. As Danny takes 10 hours to think of one thing she might be proud of.
Do you want to sit down and shut up?
I'm just trying to fill the dead air while you go.
No, I'm thinking. I am thinking. Let me think. I would say, but it's not done, but the book I'm
Uh-huh.
currently on now is the thing
Uh-huh.
I'm most proud of.
Which is not
because-
from your past.
That's oh shit. Okay, the first book
Who's
I
doing
wrote
all the
then-
swearing, Danielle?
Sorry, Nan. The first book I wrote then, but I feel like
Mhm.
this one's better, and I'm more proud of this one
I think
than the other
that's
one.
Okay.
But if it has to be from the past.
Yeah.
Okay, what are you most proud of from your past?
I'm actually
round.
really well. I'm proud of getting over my social anxiety enough to be able to complete a degree, because I didn't even complete high school. So for me to be able to turn up every day, despite the fact that, you know, a lot of shit happened while I was at uni. Sorry, Nan. Sorry, Miss O. I am really proud of that, because it took a lot of strength for me to get through college. I had a lot of stuff going on when I was doing my access course. I was an adult with a full-time job and 2 elderly dogs, one of which was dying. And so it was, you know, just a lot of stuff going on. So I got through that course, applied for university, got in, thankfully, to the one university that I applied for, because I didn't apply for anything else.
Because you just knew, Boo. You were like,
I knew.
I've got to go here because there's a girl here that's going to, like,
yeah.
be the
So-
one.
But even then, I got 6 months in and was so overwhelmed because of my outside life and university that I just had to I took a year off. And going back was the hardest thing I've ever done. Not hardest thing I've ever done, but in context of everything happening, it was so hard to go back and know that my peers from my original first year had moved on and were having this great time at university, while I'd had to like take time out, be made redundant, watch my dog die, all this kind of stuff going on. And I had to go back to university a year below them, so with less experience and having felt almost a bit like a failure for having had to leave because of my emotional state. And then going back into a year group who were already established with each other as first years was incredibly hard. And for someone with social anxiety to go into that situation, every part of me wanted to just not do it. Wanted to quit.
If it makes you feel better from the outside looking in, I didn't notice you were being super anxious.
I think
So you were sort of, you pushed yourself well, if that makes sense. Like, you weren't being like really cagey with people or like really dismissive.
I
You
think
sort
it's
of
very
opened
when
up
you've
to people.
lived with social anxiety from like, I can remember having, it didn't have a name back then and it was just called shyness. But I remember even as a toddler hiding from people like that would come into the house, visitors, and nursery not knowing how to interact with other children. Part of that could be autism, but a lot of people who are autistic do also have social anxiety. The two are very much linked. So you learn to mask from a very, very early age to try and get along with people and to fit in. I don't care about particularly fitting in all the time, but life is easier if you can fit in when you are in situations that are social. So you do learn to mask from a very early age, and one of those things that you mask is your anxiety. You know, you have to, because you learn that actually showing anxiety puts people off, makes people feel awkward around you. So you do learn to, and it's just, I masked so heavily throughout the entirety of university that it was exhausting. I was ill with exhaustion at one point, like physically. I had 3 different bloody infections. I had a throat, a chest, an ear infection, and a viral infection on top of it as well at one point. Yeah, that was like when we were second year and we were doing back-to-back plays like we did. We had the Christmas break and then came back and did ciphers, and we're also working on the documentary play and also working on Contact as well. So we had like, I know, because that's one thing we did work heavily on, was working on ciphers together, and it was such an intensive period that come Easter I was flying to Los Angeles. Like we finished on the Friday, ciphers finished on the Friday I think, and then the Sunday morning I flew out to Los Angeles, and I was okay on the plane, kind of feeling tired, but I knew I'd feel tired because I always do when I travel. Thought I had jet lag and ended up having to go to the emergency doctors to go and get antibiotics because I kept on passing out through not being able to breathe properly. So, that's, but if I can't put that down to like just emotional exhaustion. Part of that would have been physical exhaustion as well. But when you're emotionally exhausted, when you're an introvert, spending time with people is just so exhausting. Like, I know for me, after a full week at work of having to interact with people, because if I'm in the office, sometimes I get the office to myself, sometimes I don't. Those weeks when I've had to interact with a lot of people, I come home on a Friday and I just collapse. By 6 o'clock, I'm asleep for 12 hours. Like, I am sleeping till at least 6 the next day.
I do feel that too, as like someone who's quite introverted. It's just, there are days where I'm like, I do not want to I just want to be on my own for a day.
Yeah.
And that's just really nice. And I think sometimes people sort of tell you that's wrong, and that's like,
oh,
no, you should want to hang out with people all the time and do all this stuff. It's like, yeah, that's fine. And you should do that. You shouldn't close yourself off from people. You know, I say that as someone who always goes, no, I'm not going outside. But I'm trying to be more like,
I think
go out more.
like
and
everyone
do
is
more
everyone's different, and there are a heck of a lot of introverts in the world, and introverts do need that time alone to recover. And it is a fact, you do get social exhaustion. And for those of us who are introverts, autistic, and have social anxiety, which is like, I guess many autistic, I don't want to speak for everyone who is autistic, but many autistic people are socially anxious and introverted. It's bloody hard work. Just going to do a 9-to-5 job. Not anyone works 9 to 5 anymore. It's more like 8 till 6. But going to do a normal day job is exhausting. School is exhausting. So going back to my original question, if you're an extrovert, you probably won't understand this because you feed on that. You get energy from being around people.
But then also what a downside for an extrovert is they struggle just to be on their own and be just happy within their own space. And for me personally, I'm kind of glad that I'm an introvert because I think you can always guarantee at some time you will be alone.
Yes. Yeah.
And I much prefer being, like, I'm just meaning general day-to-day life.
Yeah.
You're not going to be with people 24/7.
I think it's harder as an introvert to live with other people, though. Like, I know, and I think I say this as someone who's not currently a parent and probably never will be an actual biological parent, but I can't imagine, as an introvert, I can't imagine having a child and being responsible 100% of the time for the child, because you're never alone again.
There is no such thing as alone.
No, and like I said, going back to the original question, I'm super proud of myself just for getting through university and finishing my degree when every part of me, it's almost every difficult step of the way, just wanted to quit. And that's we've been very serious today and very deep.
Oh, no.
But university was great because I got to meet you.
You got to meet me.
Yeah, and we did have, like, I will say this, it's probably one of the best things to come out of university. I'm going to get sappy now.
Oh, God, I feel gross.
Those times me and you sitting in the library and getting, like, told to shut up because we were too loud.
Yeah. So loud. I think the first day we ever met, we started joking about the fact of being drunk in the library.
Yes,
this was day one.
We met, so this is the story of how we met. We met. We'd been back in uni for about like 4 days and I knew nobody. So we were doing like pair exercises and I got paired up with this guy and Danny was paired up with someone she already knew. We had to go and find our own scripts to work on as pairs. And so the guy
Who were you paired up with without giving it away?
Mr. James. The taller of the Mr. Jameses.
Ah, okay, yeah.
Yeah. So, and I was paired up with James, and she was paired up with a mutual friend, Hannah. And James and Hannah were like, "Don't give it away." Library together, and I was like, you know, I was just happy to be, because again, social anxiety. I was just happy to be like going to the library with someone, you know, and getting to know someone. Anyway, James and Hannah went off into the stacks to go and find some scripts together because I was like, I've got no clue about how this library works. I know I had an induction, but I didn't pay any attention.
I forget those informations.
Well, anxiety, man, it takes over everything. And you know, so also social anxiety and social loafing are my terrible traits. I loaf a lot socially and let other people do the hard work. So yeah, so they left me and Danny together and it was like, I don't even know how we got started. I really don't, because one minute we were like just left alone as two complete strangers.
Oh God.
The next we were like laughing about being drunk in lectures. Not that I never did that. I'm going to say that straight out.
No,
I was never drunk in
never
lectures.
did that.
No, I genuinely never did because I didn't come out on nights out with you and I don't drink at home.
I never did that.
But we were laughing so hard about like how one of our lectures was a bit lecturers, not lectures. One of our lecturers who was also one of the directors at university, because some were just lecturers, others were directors as well. And one of our lecturer directors was a little bit
dry.
No, not dry. When you first meet him, he comes across as a little bit out there, a little bit different. And I can't even remember how, because we were both just discussing, how you're finding this lecture, how you're finding that one. I think that's how it got into it. And it was the particular lecturer who'd sent us off into the library we were discussing. And we were saying, here's that out there. You could turn up to a lecture, an actual acting workshop, be off your tits drunk, and he would think you were doing the greatest work of your life. He would be so into it.
Yeah.
And from there, we ended up getting onto like,
what to drink if you want to
what
get drunk
to
and get away with
drink,
it.
yeah, that no one will trace while you're in an acting workshop. And we were howling laughing. I think you were high on Ribena or Vimto.
This is the thing. This is another side now. I don't drink sugary drinks. I have water and tea, and that's it. So when I do introduce sugar in that format,
Oh God,
it does
high
something
as a
to me.
kite. Yeah,
Oh
same
my
as
God,
me.
it's like,
I don't drink sugar in that format either for that reason, because people think I'm drunk, you know?
yeah,
Yeah,
a bit
so-
loopy.
So our first meeting, we were both, I don't know if I'd had a juice or something too. Maybe we'd both had like a Ribena. I don't think I did.
If
Maybe
you
I
don't
had,
know,
like,
ladies and gentlemen, we are
Oh,
super rock and roll.
yes,
Super
I'd had. Do
hardcore.
you know what it was? I'd had a syrup in my coffee. Oh my God, syrup in my
Oh.
coffee. You'd had Ribena. I'd had syrup in my coffee.
Mm.
We were freaking high,
Yeah.
sugar high, and we were just howling. And I can remember Hannah coming back and being like, looking
What
at
the
us,
hell
basically.
is going
And we just
on?
kind of looked at her and carried on laughing because we were
Yeah.
so far gone. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, we are rock and roll, a bit of sugar. A bit of sugar.
Bit of sugar and it's dangerous. It's actual danger. Okay, what's your next question then?
Oh, you've got to pick a month and a date. Do you actually? I'll pick
Uh,
the month, you pick the date. So,
Okay.
I'm going to land on the most important month of the year, June.
I knew you were going to do it.
Yeah. Okay, June. What's your date? Love, what's your date? There's only
23rd.
31. 23rd. I wonder why you just picked the 23rd.
I don't know why I picked the 23rd.
Yeah, it's going to take me a while to get there because I'm currently in February.
Oh my God. Is it a physical book or e-book?
Ebook, love, ebook. That's why
Oh
it's
God,
taking
we're
so
going here
long.
for half an hour.
No, wait, I'm in July now. I've
Oh.
overshot.
She's
my load.
overshot now.
Overshot my load.
Can you not while we're on the podcast, please?
It's just a bad habit, love. It's a bad habit. Got no control.
No
Right,
control.
23rd of June. What does good communication in a relationship look like to you? Like this
I-
relationship.
Like this, I think personally, the ability to kind of take the piss out of each other,
Mm-hmm.
but it to be not how does it, like, it's not malicious.
Okay.
I think that's where you've developed a good relationship and good communication, because there's none of that fear of, oh, I can't say this,
Mm.
if that makes sense. There's like there's no restrictions to your relationship. So if
Okay.
I can, because like I think I called you a slag earlier.
I mean, you call me all kinds of names.
I've called you all kinds of names. So that to me means if we can playfully do that, we can then go into other subjects and other things. So say if I did something that annoyed you,
Yeah.
you could say it, and I feel because we have this kind of rapport, there's little to minimal chance of being offended, because I know that you're not talking like there's no sort of like standoffishness with us. We can sort of go deep, and we can go, okay, like, so that's in my head. What's good communication is the ability to kind of take the piss out of each other in a loving way.
Oh, see, I'm going to go the opposite.
Okay.
Not the opposite, actually. It's not the opposite. It's all. That's just a fucking ridiculous statement.
You're just lying. Why are you lying?
I'm lying while I try and get my voice back to normal. I'm going to go with something completely different, though. I'm going to go on more of an emotional level.
Classic Adele.
I know. So I'm going to go, I feel like good communication is being able to, much like we did, like we obviously are friends, and for anyone who doesn't know that, we are friends before we started a
It's a
podcast
lie,
together.
Another lie.
And just before we started recording the podcast, we had quite a serious conversation about gender identity and the environment. We won't get into that now. But Danny and I have very opposing views. Like, I am one side of the fence. No, I'm not. And some things I'm middle of the road, other things on one side. And Danny can be quite the opposite. And I feel like good communication is the ability that we have to be able to have different views and appreciate the other person's views, listen to them, even though we have strong opposing views, we can listen to each other and respect each other. And despite the fact that we may want to try and convince the other person of our own particular view, at the end of the day that we're able to take a step back and go, I accept your view, is your view. I'm not going to be able to change that, but that's not going to stop us from having a good relationship. And I think that's good communication, is not blocking the other person. I mean, we might overtalk each other sometimes and we might go, no, I'm right.
No, you're wrong.
You know,
yeah,
but
I like that. Yeah, it's true.
At the end of the day, we can leave that part of us behind because there are many other things that secure our friendship or whatever relationship you're talking about. You can leave those things to one side depending on what is fundamental for you to continue that relationship. If the foundations there are good and you can communicate what are the, you know, good foundations for you and what you can live with being different on. I'm not making very much sense here. But if you can discuss happily what you're okay to accept, to agree to disagree on, and what you absolutely fundamentally need to have a similar outlook on, and you're comfortable, you've got to be comfortable having those conversations. I think that is what good communication in a relationship is. I'm very serious today. I'm like psychology Adele.
You are psychology
Bringing her
Adele
out
today.
of the box. I don't know why she's come out of the box today.
Where has she been?
I think it's because the sky is dark. I'm very much weather oriented. When it's sunny outside or bright and snowy, I'm like
What is that
giddy
called
as a
in
child.
fiction where they like set the scene with the weather?
I don't know.
It's got a name like it's like
Ah.
when it's spooky, like there's a thunderstorm. You know what? It's got a name to it.
I mean, all I can think of is atmospheric, but you know.
no, there's
I
like a
don't know.
special word, but I forget the word.
Well,
Gosh, I'm not
maybe
intelligent.
once we're done with the podcast, when you think of that word, you can put it in the description box for all of us who are curious. I'm curious. I want to know.
I
And I know she really loves me. Oh God, that
We
brings
should probably
flashbacks.
end. We have been going for like.
I know, we've been going forever, but I'm just going to end on this. That
Yeah.
anytime I hear Whitney, whether it's sung by Whitney or someone else, I get flashbacks to Cyphers and our director trying to make me and two other actors do lap dances to Whitney whilst there was a rehearsal for a different
And that's
play
the
in
end
the
of the podcast,
next
people.
room.
There's no more questions, no more time. We're just
No,
gonna
but
cut her
seriously,
off.
Danny, I don't know if you remember this. There was a
I was in
rehearsal for a serious
somewhere
play.
else.
No, but this story is quite a big one from uni. So our year group was split into four, and one of the other four groups of our year group was rehearsing a really serious funeral scene in the next room, and we were blasting out Whitney doing lap dances. It was so funny.
We got
because
so told. It was the director, though. I mean, we did get. I think you got told off because I was somewhere else.
yeah,
I heard
it was
about
me
it.
and two. It was a closed rehearsal room with it being quite vulnerable, doing lap dances and stuff. But we had the music on so loud. But it was like at the time, it was mortifying being told you've got to do a lap dance for this person. It was horrific. But then knowing afterwards that there's a funeral, like rehearsal for a funeral going on next door. Oh my God.
We're just. I'm every woman.
Oh no, it was I want to dance with somebody.
Tune. Legit tune. I'll have nothing
Yeah.
said against Witters.
Oh God, the trauma.
Right, go on then.
Okay.
We'll say goodbye now.
Oh, Danny,
Before
I'm
you
on a
bring up another lap
roll.
dance story.
I can't help it. I do it a lot. Lap dancing and stories. No, I don't. I promise. I don't. I'm very awkward about lap dancing.
She just does it a lot.
I
It's like a
don't.
weird thing. Okay, say goodbye.
Bye and thank you.
Bye. Thank you very much for listening. We apologise. We're so sorry. Please come back next time. Please.
Bye. Your dreams can come true. Dreams can come true.
Can't come
Can me, babe, I'm with
you. Yeah, sorry.
I am with you, Danny. Dreams can come true.
Yes. Damn. Yeah, sorry.
That's
go on.
it. That's it. It's over.